I wanted to look at this all day. I have not listened to it. It is very difficult for me to avoid some clips, but by God, I have had to with this one. This is this is Tucker Carlson having on his Ukraine war expert, this guy Douglas McGregor, and this is Friday night. This is at the beginning of the push. So this guy was like, the timing of this is interesting. Not that it was like what luck that he was bullshitting 10 minutes before everything went to shit. It's more like the other way around. It was like, send this dude out because the weekend's gonna suck. So send this dude on Tucker, or have Tucker bring this guy on to kind of talk down the advances so that we can continue to bamboozle the MAGA crowd. Yeah, Ukraine is fucking up some Russians, man. It's good to watch. But I want to hear this asshole's take on it, because we now know in retrospect that the Ukrainians so far, by the way, in the last 4 days have reclaimed somewhere in the order of about 3,000 square kilometers, pushed all the way back to the Russian border, are encountering almost no resistance in a bunch of places. And the only places that they're receiving fire are from missiles fired from Russia into Ukraine, not even on the ground. They are also, because they destroyed the railway system that Russia was using to bring shit into Ukraine, it made it impossible for them to retreat and take their shit with them. You want Ukraine to attack Russia and cut their fucking troops off? They're not far from that. So there will be, my guess is, more sabotage and soft troops doing that kind of stuff inside Russia in the near future. Yeah, it's the idea that Putin says don't attack Russia is so fucked up. Yeah, exactly. Like, how dare you? Yeah. So let's see what this asshole has to say. I've been wanting to watch it all day. It's only a couple minutes long.
So Zelensky is now going to...
Hold on. Is this quiet? Bring the volume up on this a little. So Zelensky is
hosted by the defense contractors. I wonder, could they make it more obvious?
He's going to be hosted by the defense contractors. Could they make it any more obvious? Could they bring over a guy who has used those weapons very well in a completely defensible war situation, and has pointed out the fact that the help we're giving them is basically meaning that this tiny little country is kicking the ass of the number 2 military in the world?
Well, probably not. Of course, when he meets with them, this entire war may be over.
Right, but in a way that, I mean, they might be high-fiving him, and don't feel like you need to give a speech, but just, you know what? Dinner's on us.
Right now, things are going very, very badly, which is why the Ukrainians are so desperate.
Is it? Is that what's happening? Oh, God. You know what? If this was from, like, May or June or even the first couple weeks of February...
The list, the so-called kill list, which has me and many other Americans on it, is simply a reflection of that.
What? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Ukrainian. We're going to have to, it'll say something, right? Kill list. What's this asshole's name? Douglas McGregor. Did the West bring Asian time? 7-month war. Fox News invasion expert is a Trump appointed. Putin. Let's see. Push. Okay, that's Rolling Stone. On lies getting Ukrainians killed. That's Audible. Tucker Carlson's favorite. Douglas. Putin invaded Ukraine in defense of his country. U.S. brought this on. Is this guy's take on things? Okay, he's just another self-important prick. He's not important. That's the thing. He's making up that he's on the kill list so that, I guess, Tucker has justification for bringing him on. I don't know. Who gives a fuck?
Desperation. But the larger picture is very simply as follows. The Ukrainians have focused on trying to take, retake, and hold territory.
You mean their own fucking country? Why would they do that? It's like Imagine this asshole talking to King George going, the Americans have been focusing on taking, retaking, and salvaging their own, the colonies for themselves.
The Russians haven't paid much attention to territory. They've paid attention to destroying Ukrainian forces.
Really? They've paid attention to it, have it? Like, what kind of attention is that? The kind of, like, tell you what, for every one of you we kill, we'll kill one of ours too. Well, make that 2. How about 4?
And the last offensives down south failed miserably.
Hold that thought.
30, 40, 50% casualties, loss of equipment. And bear in mind that when the equipment
You're talking about the Russians, right?
does show up, only about 30 to 40% of it ever reaches the Ukrainians. The rest of it disappears in a sea of corruption.
Right. That's another like story point. Let me explain something to you how dumb this talking point is. So you're trying to tell me that the Ukrainians are like curb stomping Russia with a third of the gear we're sending them. Yeah, it's not even true, but like understand what that means. That this Ukrainian blitz that just happened and the reclamation of territory that they've taken and the rebuffing of the Kiev attack and all that kind of stuff was done with a third of the gear we sent. Motherfucker, if they can do that with a third, let's bump it up to 50%. If they're giving away 70% of the shit, I don't know to who. But the idea, and by the way, the reason they say that too is that up till now, only about 60% of the money we're sending them is like functional money to help them stabilize their government and for refugees and food services and transport and making sure grain shipments happen and all that kind of shit. And only about 45% of it is actual military money because the Lend-Lease doesn't include that. The gifting of stuff, we can send them shit we never expect to get back. And it goes off on, goes off of the budget like it's funds, but it's stuff that already exists. We're not going to use it. We're not going to use it anymore. Maybe they're selling it to Russia. If that were the case, if they were selling it to Russia, they would just get it back in a couple of weeks anyways because of the shit the Russians are leaving behind. This is so stupid.
But this desperation is very dangerous right now because they're losing once again just south of Kharkov.
They're losing just south of a place. You mean Kharkiv? You mean a place that actually exists as opposed to Kharkov, which I think is the name of the mad scientists in Flash Gordon, the movie.
And there are people in Washington talking about what else can we do? And there's actually talk about fighting and potentially winning a limited nuclear war, which of course is delusional.
Oh my God. Look at Tucker. What? There's people actually talking about fighting and winning a limited nuclear war? You mean Russians? And our people would have to go, all right, what does that look like? You do realize there's someone at the Pentagon to run down every possibility, right? So the idea that they're running down the possibility isn't something to be shocked about ever. If I'll tell you what, this is how it works. Anybody ever see, I think it was like Get Smart, the Nude Bomb or whatever it was. The movie, if Kim Jong-un came out and said he had a weapon that would blow the clothes off of everyone, as stupid as it is, somebody in the Pentagon is gonna go, oh, what the fuck? Okay, Wilson, come here. Run down what the fuck the effect of a naked bomb would be, other than population explosion and a run on baby oil at the supermarket. Yep, 39.9. We're almost there. Within 100. Don't forget to subscribe. Almost at 40,000. If we hit 50 by my birthday, you guys, come on. All right.
Delusional, and we should have given up on that decades ago. But it's coming back in vogue.
I mean, this is a tragedy for people who still live in Ukraine. They're being killed in huge numbers. Why not settle this war, return energy prices to normal, and stop the economic catastrophe we're facing?
Yeah, why don't you ask Putin that? because he's the one who could end it in a second by getting the fuck out.
Well, I think the Biden administration is now trying to figure out how they retreat from the dumb position that they've taken to this point.
So is this clip from the Upside Down? Honestly, this has been this argument has been dipshit from the beginning. But at this point, I don't get it. Like, I don't even understand how this is Friday night? They were already doing the push on Friday night. How did I cover Trump landing in D.C.? Yes, I covered it this morning. We'll go back over some of it. Yeah.
I don't think they can do that very easily. Do you?
I think the consequences of not doing that at this point could include the impoverishment of the West. So maybe they should.
The impoverishment of the West, as opposed to what's happening in Russia and China, you mean?
Oh, absolutely. But I don't see it happening.
This is genius.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't see. It's just gonna go. It's gonna be terrible. It's very rough. I don't know how we're gonna. If only we had Greg Kelly covering this for us.
Colonel Douglas McGregor.
Colonel Douglas McGregor, permanently wrong, dumber than ever. Tell Mearsheimer we said fuck you. Hi. By the way, I finally got around to watching one of John Mearsheimer's full speeches on Ukraine, and he's the guy that Jimmy Dore and all these assholes constantly reference about the NATO expansion and the West made this happen and the forcing of it. And it's the same place McGregor's getting some of his talking points. And I have to say it was dumber than I thought it would be. And that's saying a lot because I've seen it play out as wrong. The only thing is I didn't watch one of his older ones. I watched one of the more recent ones, and it's about an hour long. He was speaking at Harvard, I think, and or Yale or somebody. It was like at a smaller. It was at almost like a classroom setting. But the places where he's speaking are getting smaller and smaller, which is amazing. Anyways, just ridiculous. But the point is that this is all the West's fault. We made Putin invade. It's our fault that he's doing all this. When he makes nuclear threats, that's us making nuclear threats. When he threatens to wipe out the Ukrainian identity, that's us wiping out the Ukrainian identity. It's swear to God, it's mind-boggling that this is, it sounds like shit Roseanne would say. All of this stuff, this stuff from him, this sounds like stuff but for the grammar and syntax. Sounds like stuff we would have heard. Christina, what's her name? The QAnon woman who died of COVID, and when she was on with Roseanne. Remember that shit when we would listen to some of those? It sounds like that.